If there's files here about Riverside, especially police reports, we need to see them.
Sal and Ken have uncovered multiple links between the 1966 murder of Sherry Jo Bates in Riverside, California, and the Zodiac killings, which would begin 2 years later. The most striking, a letter written by Bates's killer that is a 1 in 1.5 million statistical match with those of the Zodiac. With the Riverside police unwilling to share information on their suspect, Sal and Ken arrive in Sonoma, California to examine investigative reporter Dave Peterson's files. Although Dave passed away in 2001, his nephew is believed to have kept all of his work.
This should be coming up here on the right.
Dave Peterson was obsessed with Zodiac. And Patrick Collins has all of Mr. Peterson's work. The reporters, they're not bound by the same rules the police department is. Oftentimes, they talk to witnesses, they talk to suspects. They're looking for a story. So these documents could be more valuable than the police reports.
I see a box. It says Zodiac on it.
1, 2,
There's another one.
3.
There's another one.
These boxes are all from your uncle?
Yeah. This is the first time anybody's gone through it.
Okay, well, let's start with one and we'll go.
Peterson wrote dozens of articles on the link between Zodiac and Sherry Jo Bates' murder. These boxes contain hundreds of files, personal notes, and never-before-seen police documents. One of them could hold the answer to Zodiac's identity.
We know Zodiac was a bigger man. From various victims and witnesses, 250 pounds, heavy set. So my mission today is to sit down, go through those boxes, looking for a suspect that fits our profile. I just saw Sherry Jo Bates' name. This is a letter from Dave Toshi to Dave Peterson.
San Francisco PD detective David Toski took over the Zodiac case in 1969 after the slaying of cab driver Paul Stein. Toski, now 86, is reportedly still haunted by his failure to solve the case.
He's mentioning Riverside and mentioning Ross Sullivan. Here's Ross Sullivan again. White male, date of birth, 7/28/41, 6'2", 250 to 300 pounds. Blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm seeing things that stick out to me. Heavy set, 200, 250 pounds, 6 foot, 6'3". That is the general description of Zodiac. Well, I'm gonna guess that's Ross Sullivan, because he looks like the freaking Zodiac. Ross Sullivan. This is a newspaper clipping of Ross Sullivan being arrested for some bizarre behavior in Santa Cruz, 3/5/68.
So Ross Sullivan is in Northern California 2 years after the Sherry Jo Bates homicide. This is really the area the first Zodiac would have occurred.
That's significant.
Yeah.
Attended RCC, worked library. Well, that's interesting.
Ross Sullivan went to school with Sherry Jo Bates, and he worked at the last place that Sherry Jo Bates was seen alive, at the library. Looking at what Peterson uncovered, Sullivan jumps out all over the place. I mean, he fits the profile.
Since 1968, hundreds of suspects have been connected to the Zodiac mystery, including Ross Sullivan. But never has he been linked to the evidence in this way. Sal and Ken can definitively place Sullivan in Riverside, California at the time of Sherry Jo Bates' murder. Then in Santa Cruz in Northern California in March 1968, the exact area that the confirmed Zodiac killings began 8 months later.
In this note that Peterson wrote, he said that Ross Sullivan was an English student and submitted a research paper on cryptology. To me, that is huge. The code team can now look into his background, see what training he had, see if that mind frame matches any of the Zodiac ciphers. We got a lead that we got to follow up on there. Right now, he's the #1 suspect for Sherry Jo Bates' murder.
Could Ross Sullivan be the Zodiac Killer?